Welcome back to another edition of Music Monday from the podcast Nurture the Mind. I am your host, Cole Poots, and it's been a minute. It's been a freaking minute. I apologize, guys. I took basically 2 weeks off since I posted my last video, which is something that I haven't done in a very long time. I've done a really good job over the last few years of always posting one video a week. I really have no excuses. I probably could have posted some content, but it's just kind of how life happened, and decided to take some time off and just focus on myself. I knew I was going to get back to it at some point. I wasn't going to spend too much time away, and I think that's healthy. I think we need that every once in a while to give us a fresh perspective in life. It's almost kind of like the saying and the analogy that you have to disconnect, from the internet, social media, the ether, in order to reconnect with yourself. And I truly believe that. So we're back with a music reaction. The last video that I posted was not a music reaction. It was reacting to Oklahoma City in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Switching up my content a little bit, but you guys know I can't veer away from music reactions for too long, because music reactions, I think, is what I excel at. It's my bread and butter. I love music. I'm a music nerd. I listen to all different types of genres. I just think it's really hard as you get older and life becomes busier, and you just get into that chaotic nature. Like, I have so many albums that are in my music library that I haven't listened to just yet, and they're probably from the last 2 years or so. And so I'm just trying to get caught up. When you're younger, you don't have a full-time job. Like, I was just going to college. You have all the time in the world to invest in those things and your interests. But then as you get older, it's a lot harder to stay up to date on those things. So yeah, it's taken a little bit of it's been pushed to the back burner, but I'm happy to be here today and announce that we have a new music reaction. And you know what? It's a familiar artist to the channel. Probably reacted to this guy probably 5 or 6 times, I would say. It's Tom MacDonald. And he just put out a new song that's called Whiteboy Sh. And it was dropped 2 days ago. Today is Sunday, July 20th. So it would have come out on the 18th, Friday. And we're also going to watch the music video. Everything that I know about Tom MacDonald are things that I really like. He became very vocal when it came down to, politics and cultural things and things that were going on in society. I don't know, like, just reading the title and looking at the thumbnail for this song, for this music video, it looks like he's going to embrace more of the rap and hip hop aspect. And I feel like he's going to be talking shit on this song, especially if you're going to title the song Whiteboy Sh. And I think that will be refreshing, because probably the last however many songs I consumed by Tom, a lot of it was about the political stuff, because it would have been at the end of 2024, which is when Donald Trump got reelected for his second term as president of the United States. So I think this will be a refreshing spin from, some of the other stuff that he's put out. Not to say that I don't like, the political commentary. I love it. Gets me super amped up to see somebody else that is as patriotic as he is, with the big platform that he does have. But you gotta balance things out, right? Like, you got to embrace your previous roots a little bit. Like, I know he's always kind of focused on rap and hip hop, but he does so many different genres, right? And that's what a lot of times, like on the reactions that I've done of Tom MacDonald, you guys will comment and say, you know, he is genre bending. He doesn't fit into a particular category because he does everything so well. So definitely one of those artists that is still kind of, in my opinion, under the radar, like not noticed a whole lot, and very versatile. Like he's still kind of part of the underground scene, but obviously has a huge following. I don't know if this man would ever break through to mainstream. I mean, I think probably in the mainstream, they would reject this guy, you know, just because of what he looks like, what he sounds like, what he stands for. Nonetheless, I've been really impressed by Tom MacDonald in my very short exposure of listening to his music. So without further ado, guys, let's get into it. It's Whiteboy Sh, and it's Tom MacDonald, and it's the music video. Here we freaking go.
Whiteboy Sh, got it rattling the trunk, boom, boom. Got it blaring out the windows of the whip, vroom, vroom. This that Whiteboy Sh, this that 911. Whiteboy Sh, got it rattling the trunk, boom, boom. Got it blaring out the windows of the whip, vroom, vroom. This that Whiteboy Sh, this that 911. Boom, boom. They call me the GOAT, I'm just a regular cracker. I ain't getting any blacker. Born in a wife beater with a middle finger, a lit cigarette, and my face tatted. I don't give a damn, won't give a damn, so most of them panic. There's a white boy in this mother who ain't afraid of getting canceled. Boy, that's me.
There you go.
Us. We got white boys by the trucks. We got honkies by the hundreds. We got rednecks popping trunks. I got an attitude like that had when he had a few, like a match in a can of fuel. White boy, but I'm down to get black and blue if I catch it. It's a whack. White boy Sh, got it rattling the trunk, boom, boom. Got it blaring out the windows of the whip, vroom, vroom. This that white boy Sh, this that 911. Boom, boom. They call me the one, I'm just a regular cracker. Opposite of Marshall Mathers. I got American flags, I'll never be woke. I'm happy offending the masses. I don't feel afraid, won't be ashamed, dog. You know I'm a savage. This white boy don't care, bro. I'm trying to get canceled. Boy, that's me. Boy, that's us. We got white boys by the trucks. We got honkies by the hundreds. We got rednecks popping trunks. Trying to verbalize it, you ain't ever gonna hurt a giant. Ain't worth the violence, can't burn what I am. You can hide when I finally find you. I'ma turn you into fertilizer. White boy Sh, got it rattling the trunk, boom, boom. Got it blaring out the windows of the whip, vroom, vroom. This that white boy Sh, this that 911. Boom, boom. It's that WHITEBOY until I DIE die.
Damn, son.
It's that white boy Sh.
Oh, yeah.
It's that white boy Sh. It's that WHITEBOY until I DIE die. It's that white boy Sh. It's that white boy Sh. White boy Sh, got it rattling the trunk, boom, boom. Got it blaring out the windows of the whip, vroom, vroom. This that white boy Sh, this that 911. Boom, boom.
All right, there it is. That was a very quick hitter at 2 minutes and 34 seconds. I think what I will do for reaction purposes is I will go back and listen, but I won't watch the music video now. I'm just gonna try and like listen to the audio because it's quick, you know. I picked up on a lot of the lyrics, but I want to give it one more chance in case there was anything that I missed. But in terms of the music video, very simple, very plain. So looks like they're in some type of apartment complex. Almost looks like they're in Cali or like on the West Coast, and it's just Tom, and he's rapping and he's spitting his ass off, and then he's got all these guys that are standing up on the balcony or down below. There's also a guy that's like giving off like tattoos or whatever, and they look like they're gang members. They look like these big burly dudes that you would not want to run into, that you would be very intimidated by. So I like the setting, I like the tone, I like the energy. I was completely right on my guess, on my assumptions. I figured he was going to be talking shit. Like, it was going to be flexing. It was going to be showing the muscle and going back to rap and hip hop. Some of those roots, the foundation that Tom MacDonald holds. There were some great lyrics in there. You know, I liked at the end when he spelled out Whiteboy Shit. Like, he was like WHITEBOYSHIT, and then he rhymed it with die or something like that. It was a really cool sort of rhyme scheme that he had that made it even more creative at the end. Obviously, you know, he's feeling himself. He's talking about he doesn't give a fuck if he gets canceled or not. It's almost like he's trying to get canceled. He also said something about never going woke, like he would never go woke in his entire life. So yeah, the music video was very appealing, but I gotta give it one more listen, you know, for audio purposes, just to see if there's any lyrics that I didn't catch. So we're gonna go through it one more time here.
Whiteboy Sh, got it rattling the trombone, boom. Got it blaring out the windows of the whip, vroom, vroom. This that Whiteboy Sh, this that 911. Whiteboy Sh, got it rattling the trombone, boom. Got it blaring out the windows of the whip, vroom, vroom. This that Whiteboy Sh, this that 911. Boom, boom. They call me the GOAT, I'm just a regular cracker. I ain't getting any blacker. Born in a white beater with a middle finger, a lit cigarette, and my face tatted. I don't give a damn, won't give a damn, so most of them panic. There's a white boy in this mother who ain't afraid of getting canceled. Boy, that's me, boy, that's us. We got white boys by the trucks. We got honkies by the hundreds. We got rednecks popping trunks. I got an attitude like that had when he had a few, like a match in a can of fuel. White boy, but I'm down to get black and blue if I catch it.
That line right there. White boy, but I'm down to get black and blue. Like the Popo, that's their colors, black and blue. Back the blue.
They call me the one, I'm just a regular cracker. Opposite of Marshall Mathers. I got American flags, I'll never be woke. I'm happy offending the masses. I don't feel afraid, won't be ashamed, dog. You know I'm a savage. This white boy don't care, bro. I'm trying to get canceled. Boy, that's me, boy, that's us. We got white boys by the trucks. We got honkies by the hundreds. We got rednecks popping trunks. Trying to verbalize it, you ain't never gonna hurt a giant. Ain't worth the violence, can't burn what I am. You can hide when I finally find you. I'ma turn you into fertilizer.
Turn your ass into fertilizer. He's got some good one-liners.
It's a
right here.
WHITEBOYSHIT until I die. It's a white boy.
I love when rappers do vocal pitching like that. It'll never get old to me.
WHITEBOYSHIT until I die. It's a white boy. This that white boy Sh. White boy Sh, got it rattling the trombone, boom. Got it blaring out the windows of the whip, vroom, vroom. This that white boy Sh, this that 911, boom, boom.
All right, yeah, so there's a few other things that I could touch on after listening to it a second time. You know, the first thing that I think of when it comes to Tom MacDonald is just talking about, like, why is this man so popular? Why is he so successful? Like, why does it work? That was the thing that I was thinking about as I was listening to it the second time. And there's one idea that popped up in my head, and the word that comes to mind is authenticity. I mean, Tom MacDonald is just authentically himself, and I think that that's why it works so well. And it just makes me think about this day and age that we live in, and everything is on social media. Everything is on the internet. Everybody has access to a phone. Everybody's got a voice now. Like, anybody can get on YouTube, can pull up their freaking camera here, record themselves, and then put out a message to the world. You know, I kind of get tired of people that do like content creation, although I guess in some sense I kind of fall into that category by default. But it's become such a popular thing, and now you have so much, you know, stiff competition out there because everybody is posting, and you got to figure out a way to get yourself recognized and noticed if you want to do well, if you want to get the subscribers, if you want to get the views, the likes, the clicks, the comments, like all that stuff. You know, I think the easiest way to ensure that you're going to do that is to come on here and be super authentic. And I think that that is what Tom MacDonald has mastered. Like, he's just being himself. And I do think that there are a lot of people that are out there, whether they're creating music, if they're an artist, if they're a musician, if they're creating content, like whatever your medium is, whatever form that you're deciding to put it out in, is a lot of people don't know how to be authentic, right? Like, they will copy other people. They will try and taint down what they're saying, like trying to muddy up their words and whatnot to a point where it's not authentically who they are. And I wonder why people struggle with that so much, right? Like, the biggest currency that you have, or the biggest thing that like you could give to the rest of the world, is just who you authentically are, in your soul, because that's so far different than everybody else out there on this planet. Like, we are all individuals at the end of the day. Like, I know that we pull influences and, inspiration. We draw inspiration from other people. But at the end of the day, we are individuals, and we have our own sort of like belief systems, our own personalities. And if you're going to do something like this, where you're recording videos, you're doing music reactions, you're doing content creation, you're making music, the best way to stand out is to be authentic. So that was just something that I was thinking about and was kind of reminded of in listening to Tom MacDonald, because I have found myself throughout this journey of being on YouTube, and really just in life in general, there are times where I have kind of found my voice, where it was just like kind of pouring out of me, and it was so easy and it was so natural, and I didn't give a fuck. I didn't care about what people thought about me. Like, all the words that were coming out on these videos were authentically from myself and from my soul, and people can feel that, right? Like, that's a tangible thing. And then there are times, kind of goes back to that one video that I made about why are we not always confident. Then there have been times in my life throughout this journey, throughout this process, where it's not that I wasn't being authentic, it's just that like I wasn't fully expressing myself and expressing my personality. Like, I don't know why I go back and forth on that pendulum, where sometimes I'm ready to like show myself to the world, and then there are times where it's like I just kind of want to, pull myself in, rein myself in. And yeah, I guess to some degree, like, I'm still being myself in that moment because that's how I'm feeling. But generally speaking, like, I'm a pretty expressive person. And so when I don't have that with me, I can tell, like, internally for me, something feels off. People resonate with authenticity. So that's what I think about in listening to Tom MacDonald. It's super normal for him to bounce back and forth, to do like political commentary, make a country sounding song or rock sounding song, and then go back to rap and hip hop. And like, you don't really question it, because that's Tom MacDonald, and that's who he has been basically for the entirety of his career. So that's the first thing I think about, like, in doing this reaction, just like a thought that I wanted to get out there. But then the second thing, he talks about it in this song of he's basically trying to get canceled. Like, he's putting in the effort to offend people and to get canceled. And, let's just talk about cancel culture for a second. It's surprising to me that cancel culture still exists. Like, it's been going on for a while now, right? Like, probably the last 15 years or so is all of a sudden when we got introduced to like cancel culture. Maybe it was like a little bit before that. It's crazy that cancel culture exists, and I feel like most of the time it comes from the left. It comes from the woke mob. that woke mentality. There's very few times where I've seen it happen on the right, like on the conservative Republican side of things. And even when I've seen it on that side, it's been very temporary and it's been very short. Like honestly, the only example that I can think of where it came down to the right side was when Bud Light was pushing that trans stuff or whatever on some of their beer cans, like the can design or whatever. And basically the right and a lot of moderates too were like, hey, we're tired of you pushing that into culture and down people's throats. So temporarily, like, we are not going to invest in your beer, your company. And I would say that was a dumb decision by Bud Light, because all they had to do before they made that decision was to look at basically who their base is, which is made up of a lot of people that are just regular Americans that would never give into that sort of woke mentality or that woke mindset. So that's the only time in recent memory where I can think of that stuff happening on the right side, but typically it always happens on the left, the far left liberal types, progressive far left. There's a podcast that I listen to, and it's from the CEO, this entrepreneur of a company, First Form. I've talked a lot about Andy Frisella on this channel and First Form in general. And, the way that he speaks about cancel culture is very true. And I think it applies to this song and this artist, Tom MacDonald, and just some of those lyrics in the song where he's talking about, he's basically trying to get canceled. Andy Frisella would always say on his podcast that cancel culture in a lot of ways is just an illusion. Like, it doesn't actually exist. And let me explain that a little bit further. Like, what he means is that cancel culture only works, say if you're the individual, say if I'm me, Cole Poots, and I say something that's like really inflammatory, maybe not inflammatory, but like, let's say I say something that's controversial on my podcast, on my YouTube channel, and then it gets a bunch of clicks, it gets a bunch of views, it starts to stir up in the media, and then people start to come attack me and they try and cancel me, which wouldn't happen anyways because I'm still at a very small size. It's not like I have any sponsors or anything like that. Like, I'm still like a tiny little speck on YouTube. But like, let's just, for the sake of this video, this reaction, like, let's say I say something controversial, it picks up in the airwaves, and then the cancel culture mob comes out to get me and says, we gotta cancel him, we gotta cancel this YouTube channel. Cancel culture only works and is only rendered effective if the individual actually gives into cancel culture. I think what has happened far too many times with cancel culture is the mob comes to get that person, that organization, that business, whatever, and then that individual, that entity, that group of people, they give into the cancel culture. And that's what allows them to get canceled. If you don't give in, if you stand on what you said, if it was something controversial, if you don't give in to the pressure, there's no way that they can actually cancel you. This is where we went wrong in society over the last 15 years or so, is that like people would give into the pressure. These internet freaking warriors that type on their keyboards, they felt like they had this perceived notion of power, but in reality, like, they didn't have any power at all. It's just that like people would cave into the pressure and they would say, oh my God, all these people are mad at me. I'm sorry, like, I'm gonna put an apology out there. Like, you can't give people power over you. Yes, there are some derogatory things that you could say that, should not be said, or inflammatory comments or things of that nature. But those I think are very few and far between. But if you just go out there and speak openly about your opinions and your views, and it turns out to be controversial, who can really take you down? Like, we live in America, which is supposed to be founded on the freedom of speech, and especially on the internet. Like, I mean, you can say whatever you want, right? And nobody can cancel you. Nobody can take you off the internet, unless, you know, there was that one time where Donald Trump, he got taken off of Twitter, which I don't think he has a Twitter anymore. I think he just goes to Truth Social, and I think it was probably in response to that event when he got taken off of Twitter. But at the end of the day, we can say whatever we want, and you should be able to say whatever you want, because your voice is one of the biggest things that you have. And I think that, like, especially in our country and around the world, like, that's where they try and get people. They want you to think that you can't say certain things. It's almost like the thought police are taking over and are controlling your mind. This is what happened during COVID. There's no way to get around it. There's no way to beat around the bush. COVID was so effective because it tried to keep people in line to be in compliance with the rules and the things that they were trying to set forth. And, you know, I was a victim of this. Like, I didn't always stand up for what I believed in during COVID because I was afraid of what was going to happen to me or the social pressure. It was literally a psychological, you know, experiment, and it was so effective, you know, because it created so many people not only to be fearful of COVID itself, but they were fearful of, like, the social ramifications that it would have if they didn't wear a mask, or if they didn't practice, you know, 6 feet of social distancing, or like if you didn't get the jab, if you didn't get the vaccine. And so those things become effective when you give into the pressure. Think about COVID for a second. We all experienced it. I don't care what your views are. You're allowed to have your views. I'm allowed to have my views. We can talk about this. We can debate this all freaking day. Think about COVID. Think about that time. Think about how crazy it was. And for all the people out there that are watching this video, you know, watching this reaction, and they have a similar belief to the one that I hold, it would have not been so bad, and it would have not been extended for as long as it was if people like me, if people like you guys that hold these similar beliefs, if we would have just said, no, we're not giving in to your fucking rules. This is absurd. You don't shut a country down. You don't shut businesses down. If there was a collective fuck you to the government, the tyrants, the people that organized this, it wouldn't have gone anywhere. It would have fell flat on its face. And so that's the point that I'm trying to make with COVID in relationship to cancel culture, is like, people want to keep you silent. And so the biggest thing that you could do for yourself is to actually find your voice, your truth, and the things that you actually believe in. And so I love Tom MacDonald for this fact, because he's now embracing it, right? Like, so many people would be afraid of cancel culture, this perceived threat of cancel culture. And yet he's saying at this point in time, no, I'm embracing it. You guys are obviously mad, sick in the head, and fucking crazy. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna say more absurd shit because I'm gonna try to get canceled. Bring whatever fucking weapons you have. You can't take me down because you hold no power. That's how I interpret it. I know this was a very short, tiny song. You guys know me. It's the one thing I do well in these music reactions is I could take a 3-minute song and I could turn it into a 30-minute reaction. I guess that's what bothers me about some of, you know, the people that do music reactions on the internet that'll get more views than me on YouTube or whatever. It's like they listen to like a 6-minute song and they only do like a 10-minute reaction. And I'm like, how do people want to consume this? Like, there's no freaking depth to it. You know, maybe I'm talking endlessly. Sometimes I go on rants, sometimes I vent, and sometimes they don't make any sense. But like, even though this is a 2-minute, and 30-second song, it's like you can pick apart lyrics, you can pick apart layers, and you can go down different routes to extend it. I don't know. That's just my side rant. Those are just my thoughts. I just know, like, when I come on here, I try to find things to talk about, whether they're relevant or not. But anyways, guys, that's my reaction. That's my 2 cents. I really like the song. I think the things I picked up on most were the lyrics and the music video. The beat to me was simple. Subject matter was pretty simple. Everything was pretty much, right on the nose, like right on the head. But you can pick it apart, and you can go deeper. Thank you guys for coming over here and watching the reaction, or if you do it audio as well. Nonetheless, like, I appreciate you guys for supporting me and my channel in my entire journey. As always, before we depart, there's 4 things that I ask that you do if you came over here and you watched it. And you don't have to do all 4, but please do one of the 4. Number 1 would be subscribe to the channel. Number 2 would be like the video. Number 3 would be comment in the comment section below. And number 4, please share the message, the content, the video, the podcast, whether it's over social media or if you tell somebody in person, spreading it via word of mouth. Basically, we're trying to create this exchange where if you enjoyed the content, if you thought it was useful, if you thought it was thoughtful, if you got something out of it, if you thought it was entertaining, funny, if you enjoyed the experience, if it had value, please do me a solid and pass it on. Do one of those 4 things. That's all that I ask, guys. Just for everything that I put into this channel, I want there to be some type of equal exchange. Anyways, guys, that's the reaction. I will see you guys next week. Take care.